Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in our community. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County. Hello, and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. My name is Mike Jones. I'm hanging out at Media Zone with a couple cool dudes. Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today, buddy?
Beautiful blue skies out there as always, you know that.
Sunny blue skies.
Fortunately, especially driving over Blue Heron Bridge today.
And especially for us, we have a very special guest.
We do. Yeah. Joe, honestly, this is a pleasure because we've been meaning to do this for a while. So
forever.
Yeah, so go ahead, introduce yourself, and let's get the listeners a little bit to know about you.
Yeah, so I'm very honored to be here. Long time coming, for sure. My name is Joe Radich. I'm the founder, clinical director of R3 Health, which essentially is an integrative, regenerative, functional medicine practice that helps people really kind of specialize or helps people understand how their bodies are aging, why their bodies are aging, and what we can do to slow that process down or in a lot of cases reverse it. So a lot of people think of anti-aging medicine as like the floofy, med spas and let's go get some Botox and some filler, but we're truly a medical focused office. So we really help people evaluate, quantify kind of where their bodies are, how their bodies are aging, and really put together individualized treatment programs. And as you know, especially, everyone's body's different. So everything that we do is individualized for that person's unique needs and their unique goals.
Well, and I got to thank you and for the listeners. Joe and I have been working together for probably 7 years now, and he's been taking care of my family for a long time. So I'm beyond grateful for him, and he also takes care of my patients. So thank you.
And thank you. Dr. Spencer loves to take care of our patients as well.
Yeah, no, it's
symbiotic relationship there, guys.
I was just going to say, you took the words out of my mouth, but it's something that I've always believed in, and you're very passionate and you're very educated on the topics. And I think it's something special that more of Palm Beach County needs to learn about. And that's really why I wanted to have you on and to share your knowledge and your expertise. So thank you.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm really happy to be here. And so one of the biggest challenges that we face in our scope of medicine is the lack of awareness and the lack of education on what we do in integrative and regenerative medicine, right? Everyone is kind of stuck in this conventional healthcare model that kind of stinks. And America is the greatest country in the world, but it's also the sickest country in the world, which is kind of hard to understand. We have so much money and power. How do we have such a sick country? And so one of the things that's really important for me as a practitioner, but also our practice and our values, is making people aware of their health. I'm actually in the process, I didn't even tell you guys this, but I'm actually about to release a book that we wrote.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to say you found the fountain of youth.
I'm working on that one too.
Okay, wow. I was on the edge of my seat over here.
I'm working on that one too. They say it's in Florida somewhere.
Hey.
Right?
It definitely is.
But we're about to release a book. It's entitled Restoring Your Autonomy. So giving our patients and people the tools that they need to take control of their health, because that's where the current healthcare system fails. It's a prescription. It's a 5-minute visit. It's no concern, no empathy, it's no listening. And the big problem with our healthcare system is all those things. So the book that we're releasing is kind of talk a little bit about the historical or maybe why that's the case, why our healthcare system is not necessarily so great, and the things that you can do as your own patient advocate to take your own health in your own hands. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know I'm going to be interested to read it. And something that just came to mind when you started talking about that, when I was in chiro school, our nutrition classes were obviously extremely holistic, and our teacher would always say, man, this is just a sad world we live in. And I'm like, well, why is that? He's like, well, look at the standard American diet. And it's true. Like, from the whole nutritional aspect, if you feed it bad nutrients, you're not going to put shitty gas into a Ferrari.
Yep.
And if you do, it's not going to last long.
100%.
And if people treated their body a little bit more like that Ferrari, I think they'd see a better result.
Yeah. And nutrition, you're bringing up a really good point, because that's really where it all starts from. Like you're talking about these analogies, how do you expect a fine automobile to run if you're just filling it with cheap stuff, And nutrition's the key. It is literally the building block of our life, everything that has to do with it. So it does start there. And a lot of people lose touch of those foundational things. And we're all busy and life happens and we don't eat the best, or we like to have a fun weekend. But, listen, I'm a big proponent of everything in moderation. If you can live by the 80-20 rule, probably be all right. And nutrition's the same thing. I'm a realist with our patients. I don't expect you to not have a piece of birthday cake. I think if you set that expectation with people, they're not going to be compliant. So we're a big proponent of being real with people, helping them understand, picking the lesser of the evil, or how to moderate their lifestyle, and that's a big part of our core practice, is just helping people just understand the do's, the don'ts, what you can get away with, what you can't get away with, and just doing everything you can to help your body compensate.
I think too, like we were saying before, we live in a very reactive world. And I know that like diets don't work because it doesn't become your lifestyle. If you go on a diet, it's only a reactive thing because you want to like fix whatever's broken. Whereas like if you change your lifestyle, that's like the real key there, at least in my opinion.
You're 100% right. So what's funny about that is we call what we do kind of like lifestyle or performance medicine, because we're on this earth a very short period of time and we want to maximize the quality, right? It doesn't matter what a blood test tells you, take that with a grain of salt. It does. But really, overall, our goal with people is improving functionality and quality of life. Because nobody wants to live to 100 if they're bedridden for the last 30 years.
I think the other thing too is a lot of people need to have an honest conversation with themselves. It's one of those things you got to look yourself in the mirror and go, am I really being honest? Like, am I really trying everything that I possibly can? Or is it just the fluff that I tell myself? And really from that psychological standpoint, I've seen more breakthroughs for more people when they are honest, because that is the kind of the driving factor. And being more grounded, more rooted, really getting down to that core value of what am I looking for? What do I want? What's going to make me happy?
100%. So that's actually one of the chapters in the book, is it talks about the culture in the U.S. We are driven by media outlets to live this fast-paced, expensive lifestyle, and it's not necessarily what's best for our bodies. It affects your adrenal gland, it affects your thyroid function, it affects your male hormones, it can give you gut issues. All that fast-paced, high energy. I mean, it can be great, but it is not sustainable long-term. Like we're talking about diets and nutrition. It's not a lifelong solution. And part of the problem is because we are driven or influenced, or, whatever you want to call it, by media outlets. And we want to live a certain lifestyle because it looks glamorous, but it's killing us. Think about European countries. Think about how they work, what their work schedule is like, how much vacation time they have, how many breaks they get throughout a day. Look at their health compared to the U.S. The numbers don't lie.
Well, they drink lots of red wine, so it's good for you.
Love that.
It's
a lot
true.
of resveratrol.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. No, yeah, tannins, whatever that word you just said was.
and it's true. If you look at it, that's where a lot of the blue zones are based, right?
Yep.
So tell the listeners a little bit about, the new opening, what you guys have going on across the street from the studio as well. And
yeah, so we're really excited. We've grown our practice really organically, which is also a big part of the reason we love connecting with you guys. Is we're a true Palm Beach County, Florida establishment. I'm originally from New York, but Florida's been home for 6 years, and I wouldn't change it for the world. We're excited. We've grown our business organically through word of mouth and referrals, which I think is great. And it speaks for, the success that we really help people with. So we're really excited to launch. We're going to be having a new flagship location in downtown West Palm, where we're going to be expanding our service line. And we're opening up this new concept that we're calling Med House, which essentially is going to be a membership style kind of regenerative medicine, biohacking facility, if you will. It's a trendy term, but we're really excited about that. We're going to have our clinic aspect for patients who don't necessarily want to become members or don't want to utilize some of those services. So we'll have our clinic aspect and our med house component all under one roof in downtown West Palm.
That's beautiful.
So we're really excited. So the med house component's going to have salt suites, cryotherapy tanks, sensory flotation deprivation tanks. It's going to have infrared saunas, essential oil saunas, a whole bunch of other really cool stuff that ties into our clinic. So things like stem cell therapy, exosome therapy, peptide therapy, all that really cool stuff all under one roof. So we're really excited about that. We're hoping to get that up and open by this year, 2020, fall of 2020. So we're excited about that. We're also really excited to partner up with Amrit, which is literally right across the street from the studio here. A beautiful North Palm wellness style resort and residence. It's going to be amazing. So a big section of what we do is medical tourism. So we attract patients. Literally, we've had patients from Pakistan, Israel, Turkey, Greece, Italy, literally, because a lot of what we do in the regenerative space is pretty cutting edge. So we attract patients from all over the world. And this Amrit facility, this Amrit Wellness Center and hotel and residence is a big part of our medical tourism package that we're putting together. So we have the unique ability for people to come travel to us and spend a beautiful couple of days at this beautiful Amrit facility, and then be shuttled to our beautiful downtown West Palm biohacking facility. And we're really looking forward to all that stuff happening this year.
That's really cool.
And it's 75 degrees year round.
Shucks.
A little hotter in the summer, but
Yes. I can't even, like I said, I come from New York and all my family's still in New York right now. And they send me pictures. They just had 2 major snowstorms, and it's a balmy 72 out right now. And I'm
sorry, guys.
Sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. It's sunny.
I don't blame them.
Sunny and beautiful down here in Florida.
For one to be a little jealous. Like, look at what when you're driving over the bridge today, like crystal clear blue water, people
Peanut
taking
Island.
scuba diving lessons in February. Not a bad place to live, boys.
It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, we're lucky. And then tell the listeners also about the North Palm location.
Right. So I didn't even mention we are opening our second clinic location, which is going to be in North Palm, also about 10 minutes from the studio here, which we're really excited about. It's going to be essentially an extension of our current office, which is also in downtown West Palm, attached to the Victor Ferris building at Good Samaritan Hospital. That's our primary location as of right now, as we're constructing the new flagship location. But the North Palm is going to be an extension of what we do in West Palm right now. And we're going to be doing everything that we do currently in that North Palm location. We're set to open in the beginning of March, first week of March. And we're really excited about it. Again, just local organic growth. We couldn't be more thankful and blessed.
Yeah, congratulations, man. This is cool to see your growth.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So if you could speak to like someone that lives in Palm Beach County, what would you say? Like, what are some common things that people want to come in for treatment for? Like, I know I watched one of your videos before we went on, and like everything from hair loss to like, bags under the eyes to sore like body parts.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So what's great about why I love doing what I do is I get to treat everything. I'm not a specialist. I'm not an endocrinologist. I'm not an orthopedic. I'm not an internist. I don't necessarily deal with just a subset of people. We treat people, no exaggeration, from the age of 10. My oldest patient is 103.
That's beautiful.
Literally. We treat the spectrum, and we're 50-50 men and women. Because we take kind of more of like a whole body approach to our patients, we see everything from digestive issues, growth issues, hormonal imbalances, adrenal issues because of this high stress we all live in. We see a lot of conditions that are related to degenerative processes. So, arthritic stuff, chronic conditions, heart disease, diabetes. We help manage those kind of primary care types of things from a more alternative and a more regenerative perspective. So a lot of our patients come in because of, one, they've either had a friend or a family member who we've done wonders for, right? Referrals. Or two, believe it or not, their primary care physician has failed them, or their specialist has failed them, or they're not making headway, or they're not feeling better. We see a lot of people who continue to struggle with medical conditions and they're just not getting anywhere. And it goes back to our shitty healthcare system. And again, that's where, the book comes into play about helping people to raise awareness and educate people about their options, because a lot of people go to their primary care doctor and they're God. Like, there's no questioning. Like, that's it, and that shouldn't be the case. In fact, that's a recipe for being stuck in that hamster wheel. So people need to challenge their physicians. People need to challenge their doctors. And a lot of times we get people into our office because they're just not feeling better, or they're not feeling the way that they want to be, or they're not hitting their goals, or they're not achieving what they want to achieve. And that's what attracts people a lot to us. So that's a long-winded answer, but we do treat and see a broad spectrum of ages, demographics, lifestyles. The other misconception about what we do in anti-aging or integrative medicine is that it's a service for the rich and wealthy. That couldn't be further from the truth. I take pride in making sure that we are able to deliver this care to patients. No matter what my line to people is, I never want money to be the reason we can't help you. So whatever it boils down to, first and foremost, our services are not expensive. We treat the average American. I come from a lower middle class family, son of a firefighter and a school teacher. I don't come from money. So I understand that way of living and that lifestyle, and we want people to be successful because as practitioners, our goal is to help people. And if we can't deliver a service because they can't afford it, that's bullshit.
I agree.
So whatever it takes to make people feel the way that they want to feel. And so our services are not expensive services for the rich and famous, but they do yield the benefit of the rich and the famous, So we love having people of all demographics and ethnicities and lifestyles because we get an opportunity to help them when they haven't been helped.
What I've just resonates with me is one, you've been talking a lot about education and now accessibility and don't let things matter. And I think that's the right way to go, where if you don't teach people along the way and they just come to you on autopilot and then they don't see you again for a week, that's not the true path, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I use this example in the office all the time. So under the conventional healthcare system, when you go to see your primary care doctor, you sit in the waiting room for an hour, right? Then you get shuttled into the exam room. You sit there for another 10 minutes.
That's an hour after your appointment schedule time.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Then you get shuttled into the exam room and you wait another 10, 20 minutes, right? Then the nurse comes in, takes some vitals. You wait another 5, 10 minutes. And then you get a 5 to 10 minute FaceTime with the practitioner who does nothing but drills at you, doesn't listen, doesn't ask questions, probably gives you a prescription. Then you go back out, you check out, and he says, okay, I want to see you again in 3 months. And the same fucking thing happens every 3 months, right? When you come into our offices, first and foremost, we do a complimentary meet and greet session because I want to make sure I get an understanding of what's happening, what your goals are, what the direction is. Because I'm not going to sit here and say I can treat everybody. I want to make sure that I'm going to deliver for you.
And they're a good fit for you as well.
100%. It's got to be a two-way street, right? Because if some people are just coming in wanting a miracle solution, I'm sorry, I'm not the clinic for you, man.
And so, I've heard him say that to people before too. Hey, I'm not a miracle worker here. In a funny way to be you got to do your part as well.
Correct.
100%. So when people come into me, we schedule a complimentary consultation because I need to make sure that we're both on the same wavelength before we commit to each other, right? It's no different than a marriage. We got to court each other out,
I love it.
So we set that up. And then from there, our consultations are a minimum of 30 minutes, minimum, usually closer to 60 to 90 minutes. And the reason for that is the education piece. Not only, and I think you can attest to this, I don't just go over blood work results. We go over blood work results. I do my best to help people understand what all that gibberish on the report means and to help them make sense of it and grasp it. Because the more that you know as the patient, ultimately, it makes my job easier too. So the more that you understand, you can ask better questions. You as the patient can be educated. We can have more elegant and elaborate conversations about your health, and we're just going to be more successful. So the education for me is of the most importance.
I agree, and that's the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of my patients when they've been for a consultation with you. And you also got to realize as well there's other family members who are going to have the same issues or the same complications. So it's a ripple effect is really what it's coming down to.
Yeah, 100%. And there are a lot of links, genetically, and you live similar lifestyles or coworkers and family members. There is a lot of that. And that's how we've built this practice organically. I kid you not. My marketing director comes to me every month and he said, "Joe, what's my budget?" I said, "Well, what was our budget last month?" He said, $500, which is nothing, as you guys know, $500 a month for marketing. And I'm like, "Well, what do our numbers look like?" He's like, "We have 50% new patients this month." And I'm like, "What do we need to market for when we've got great organic, let our success speak for itself." And that's what it boils down to is we love to establish long-term relationships with our patients. We're not a practice where people come and go. People are lifers with us.
I think it's been very similar with us here, and I'm sure at your practice too, where if you're a good person and you do good work, there's a good chance that your client is going to say nice things about you. And they're the best salesman ever because it's coming from their authority or whatever, right?
And the truth be told is we're just here to help.
That's right.
We're here to be of service, whether it's for media or health. And I think the more people that truly understand that, they're just going to spread the word for you. And that's really the same thing you just said. I just want to let people know you're not another number. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually care, and I want to know about little Sammy's soccer game on Friday or whatever it may be. Yep. And when they see that you care, it creates the heart-to-heart connection, which is special.
It's super special, and it's something that you don't get in conventional healthcare here in the States. You don't get that. No, but you're just a number, conventional healthcare.
Is it really a European-based model that's like an influence for y'all?
I would say yes and no. Yes, in the sense of kind of the principles that we preach, but no in the sense of, it's not socialized medicine.
Correct.
Obviously, yeah. Right? But yeah, I think we do share a lot of similarities with European medicine and the European approach, especially when it comes to a lot of the lifestyle attributes, big time. Because again, they live a lifestyle there that's conducive to longevity. And that's our primary objective in our practice is ensuring quality of life and longevity. So we do share a lot of similar principles.
What I always thought was cool was like, I feel like Spence is a great person at like connecting the dots and helping understand things. So like say someone comes in and their foot is hurt. Well, if you spend a little bit of time with them, you're going to realize, well, actually your hip is like really messed up. And I think you're putting more weight on that other foot where it's, a traditional medicine approach might be like, here's some painkillers for your foot. Mm-hmm. Don't even get to the fact that your hip is all jacked up and that's why your foot is messed up. So it's nice to hear you guys just sit here as someone who's not in medicine because it is for the best interest, right?
100%. And that's what I love about Dr. Spencer's approach is that fact. It's very easy for us as practitioners to get tunnel vision a lot of times and focus in on what the main complaint is. But our body is this complex kinetic chain, right? And just like the analogy, the chain is only as good as its weakest link. Same thing with our bodies. If we've got that tunnel vision on that one little link that might look off, we're neglecting the rest of the links of the chain and it throws everything off. So that's what I really respect about Dr. Spencer's approach. And we follow the same approach. We look at the body as a whole, and that's why we do comprehensive testing. That's why we look at all these outside the box indicators to give us a global perspective on what your body looks like and how your body's aging. And then from there, we can really pinpoint, but we always got to keep our eye on the whole picture. And that's where conventional health really kind of fails. And that's why we are so successful.
Yeah, I'd agree. And to quote a mentor of mine, Ida Rolf, he who chases pain is lost.
Beautiful.
But yeah, Joe, anything else you want to touch on while you're...
Not really. I appreciate you guys giving me some time to come and flap my gums and just help get some awareness out there. And I hope we can make this a recurring thing because I would love to continue to promote local business and us being here. So for sure, hopefully we'll hear each other again.
How can you be found on the World Wide Web?
Yeah, so love that. So our main clinic is R3 Health. So we are r3health.co, C-O, not .com. All the social media platforms, obviously all the search engines, R3 Health or r3health.co.
Beautiful, man. Anybody you want to thank?
You guys.
Yeah, sweet.
You guys, my lovely wife, for being super supportive, our lovely team. I, again, come from nothing. I started this practice renting a 140 square foot room for $800 a month. We're about to open up a mega flagship location, our second location in North Palm, with a franchise model coming out where we're going to have a national and video telemedicine platform. My wife, our team, I'm nothing without my team. So it's about building a good business with a good, strong foundational team. So kudos to the R3 Health team.
Hey,
Nice camera spot
I like
there.
that.
Hey.
That's good, Joe.
Wait, I got one more question.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not too late to ask what the R stands for.
It's funny that you say that. I'm laughing because I think that's the question I get the most. So before R3 Health, we were actually Renew You Medical.
I thought you were going to say R2, and I was like, okay.
That would have been funny. The Renew You, we actually had issues trademarking in full disclosure. So we had to name change. But the R3 is because we help people renew their medical, their beauty, and the regen. So it's kind of like the three pillars of what we do as our whole body approach to medicine.
I'm glad we got that right at the ending. So,
Correct.
Segue for episode 2.
That's beautiful. Boys,
Yeah. Thanks for
Cheers.
joining us on the podcast.
Yes. Cheers.
And we'll see you in here again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County.